There's some of you here that I don't know. I don't think I've seen before, but my name's Pam. I work for Green Umbrella Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency, and we've been around for 10 years. We've been doing digital marketing. Before I start this, I was just going to say that, you know, us, everybody at Green Umbrella, we work in social media every single day, and you know, none of us obviously predicted what's going on at the moment at all, and you know, none of us have, you know, could have predicted how to deal with it. And so what I would say is, for the people that are already using social media, and you know, if you're still sort of like fumbling around in the dark a little bit, don't be hard on yourself. You know, we're dealing with it every single day. We're in it. You know, I'm using social media for 8 hours a day. So I can see the changes that are happening within social media as they're kind of happening, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you're still, you know, like I say, still sort of fumbling in the dark, and this is kind of what I was trying to get here with this presentation, is that, don't give yourself a hard time about it. You know, some of the things that are in this presentation will help you and guide you. Digital agencies, you know, like ourselves, we're here to help you if you need help. So just think about that. But yeah, so first of all, this is turning your digital marketing around for kind of like now and beyond, and just some things to really think about. So the brief here, so we're going to look, these are the things that we're going to look at today. Check in with your social media landscape and where you should be focusing your efforts. How to ensure every post you share has maximum effect. What are the trends and how can you take advantage of them? What questions you should be asking yourself at the moment. So this is kind of what the social landscape looks like right now. And, you know, it would be difficult for me to kind of go into this in depth at the moment. And that's probably a whole other type of webinar. But, you know, you have to, if you're already on social media, that's great. You know, you may be already on a social media platform. Quite a lot of, you know, obviously business community are on LinkedIn and on Facebook too. You know, you may want to extend to another platform. You may not have the time to do that. So, you know, it's kind of like, what, you know, where are you right now? Are you focusing in the right area? Are you using your social media to the advantage? You know, are you working with the right audience in the right place? This kind of things. So obviously things like TikTok is, you know, is obviously the latest one. You know, within lockdown, people have got quite silly. They've done quite loads of like dancing sort of videos and things. You know, you might want to add a little bit of fun into your, you know, your social media, and that's kind of the platform that you would go to. So, you know, obviously these platforms have all different sort of purposes. You know, Pinterest is one that I use a lot. It's quite a creative platform, and, you know, quite a good one for retailers or people who are selling products, that kind of thing. So, so yeah, so if you want to talk about what social media platform that you think you should be on, give us a shout, you know, at some point. Obviously my details will be here at the end of this webinar. Obviously the times that are best to post, you know, they've changed over the last, I don't know how many weeks we are into this lockdown now, I kind of lose track. But these were the new best times to post, and this was as of the 28th of April that this was put together, the times. So, you know, this is kind of like around about that time. So your best times for Facebook, you know, Monday, Wednesday and Friday between 10 AM and 11 AM. LinkedIn, this one has kind of changed a little bit. So Wednesday 3 PM, Thursday 9 to 10, Friday 11 to noon. Twitter, best times Friday between 7 and 9 AM. So you've got Instagram as well, Monday, Tuesday and Friday at 11 AM, Tuesday at 2 PM. The thing that strikes me there quite a lot is that 11 AM crops up in pretty much all platforms. So you've pretty much got a safe bet if you're trying to get, you know, the best audience. If you know, post it at 11 AM, you're probably hitting round about the right time at the moment. Okay, so identify objectives. Why would you use social media? Again, I didn't get a chance to ask everybody before this webinar if you are already on social media. So, you know, so it's kind of like quite openness. So why would you use social media? One, to make sales. Two, to nurture future customers, and also current customers too. Customer retention and loyalty. If you're on social media and your customers are seeing you on social media, they're probably far more likely to be more loyal to you than they would if you've kind of disappeared. Things have swung, swings and roundabouts at the moment. Some people have dropped their social media for a variety of reasons, and some of them are very understandable. But if you're there and you're hoping to come out the other side of of this, and you're going to be open, maybe not business as usual, but how's your customers going to know that if you're not live on on social media? How are they going to know that? So another reason is your reputation management, crisis management. So if people are speaking, if people are singing your praises, you want to be there to thank them. But also in the same time, if somebody is saying something that's not quite right, or saying something horrible about your what you're doing or what your company is or your brand, you want to be there to also answer that. So that's another reason to be on there. Brand awareness, to drive traffic back to your website. Reassurance marketing, to obviously, like I was saying before, to reassure people that you are actually, that you're still there and you're still working. It might not be business as usual, and it's okay to say that. It's okay to say we're not working as business as usual. That's fine. But you need to tell them that you're still there. To keep an eye on your competition. This is also okay, to keep an eye on your competition. It's good to see what's working and what's not working. And sometimes you get, not even with your your competition, you can also you can get inspiration from other other brands on social media too. Researching your markets, customers, suppliers. You can use social media for that as well. It's relatively inexpensive. Well, you can actually do social media for free organically, but also Facebook advertising, it isn't that expensive either. People may think that there is a lot of added expense to do a standard Facebook advert, but there's actually not. You can do things for just a few pounds and build it up over a period of a few months. So don't think that it's an expensive, if you want to do an advert to promote something, to promote a webinar, to promote something that you're doing, a new product, an app that you're doing, it's okay. You can promote it on Facebook for quite, for like under a tenner at a time. So you've just got to build an advert up, basically. So identify new objectives, and there's that bit, everything has changed, and yes, it has changed, and it's still changing, and it's going to change for how, who knows how long. Every time a new announcement comes out, things will change again. So yeah, here's that old, did you know we're in unprecedented times? Well, did you? It's we're all in unprecedented times. What worked 2 months ago won't work now. And what I would say as well, that obviously what worked at the beginning of lockdown won't work now. We're in a sort of ever-changing setting at the moment, and it's the same for social media. The things that were working. I mean, what I would say is, kind of like at the very beginning of lockdown, we kind of, took a bit of a dip, and then it started to come up again. And we've gone through this sort of process a bit like this, but things have sort of plateaued over the last few weeks. And the messages that are going out there, I mean, obviously I'm managing accounts for quite a wide variety of sectors, so I don't cover every single sector that's out there. But there's quite a few of the main ones that I work with, and construction industry is one of them. New build housing. We've got recruitment. I've got retailers. I've got e-commerce. So it's quite a lot of industries that have been quite largely impacted by COVID-19. And that's that I'm dealing with that sort of every day. So immediate actions to think about. If you have any pre-scheduled content, which may be maybe you do, maybe you don't. You know, we said this at the very beginning of lockdown, all sort of pre-scheduled content to kind of like stop it and check it. You know, you may have stopped any pre-scheduled content completely just to see kind of what, you know, what's going on anyway. Again, it's everything's sort of like changing a little bit all the time. So, you know, we were very, very particular about the sort of imagery that was going out, and we're still very, you know, particular about the imagery that's going out, but things are, you know, a little bit more open now. People are looking for a bit more of a positive message. So, you know, just keep checking what you're putting out there, keep checking your imagery. You know, you might be like reposting posts that you put out a few months ago. Just check, is the wording still what you would use now? Is the image, you know, if it's got, you know, crowded people in it, should you be using it? No, you shouldn't. It's not sending the right message out right now. So it's just things like that. You just need to tweak things slightly. So revisiting your new objectives, develop your new content plan, don't panic. So what I would say here about sort of revisiting objectives, one of my clients just before lockdown was actually about to launch an app, and when we came into lockdown, and obviously it had a massive impact on their business, we stopped the you know, the promotion of this app because it wasn't applicable at the time. But we're now getting to the stage where I'm thinking, actually, we could start promoting this app again. One, because they were in the recruitment industry, and one of the features on the app, quite, you know, strangely, was actually to do interviews, or part of the interview process was to be done via interview. And, you know, that is very relevant right now. So it's going to work for them. So we can now revisit, you know, it's been halted now for 2 months or so. So now we can revisit it and bring that app back out and promote it a little bit. But obviously the message is going to be a little bit softer now. So you can revisit, you know, things that you were working on before. You know, look at your content plan, develop a new content plan. But we do have some goodies on our website as well that will help you and guide you to create a content plan if you don't have one already. You know, I understand that people, you know, you've either got a lot of time in your hands at the moment, or you've either got none. It seems to be a mix, you know. It's like so, you know, people either have the time to sit down and do a content plan, and I would kind of urge you to do a content plan, because you get a really proper good vision of what it is that you're putting out there and how often you're putting the same message out there. It's really good to develop that. But I can put links to these goodies at the end of this webinar. I'll put that in the Facebook group as well. So questions to ask yourself. So this is obviously with, you know, with your social media content. Where can we offer value? If so, how and to who? Is the content right for my industry, my local market? Even though we checked this last week, is it still appropriate now? So, as I say, you know, at the beginning of lockdown, a message that you might have said on week 1 was very different to one that you'd have said on week 2. I can almost feel at the moment a bit of a pressure's not the right word, but it's kind of the way that I see the social media moving at the moment is that there's almost like you can see the light there at the end, and the messages are getting more positive. You know, still very careful, but there's a more positive message that's going out there, and it's almost like building up to a little bit, you know, I suppose a little bit of a crescendo. So you know, we're kind of like creeping back up there. So, you know, just think about that, and you know, every week your message might be getting a little bit more positive, a little bit stronger. But obviously everything is going to be careful for a very long time, and it should be careful anyway to a degree. You know, it's not, you need to think about what you're sending out there. Like, are all creative elements appropriate? Tone of voice, imagery, music, keywords. Another thing here that, you know, like, which is quite strange, because obviously we put things like inspirational or motivational quotes out there, and it's quite, you know, a lot of people have done that, but sometimes, and this may be a personal thing, but when I've gone to, to look for, like Monday motivation, what kind of quote can I put out there just now? I've sometimes looked at them and I've just thought, that's just not appropriate right now. So the ones that I kind of, because you've got to think about what people's moods are and what their frame of mind is at the moment. And, I suppose people, want to be, I think there's one that I've used quite a lot recently that's basically about how, kind of like just taking little steps is actually making a bigger impact. And, that's the kind of things that you've got to think about in the sort of quotes that you're putting out there. It's conveying a positive message, but it's not making anybody feel bad inside for not being at that stage, because some people are having bad days, some people are having good days. So, I know it's a lot to think about, but, sometimes if you just read a message, you think, actually, no, that's not the right motivational quote. It's maybe a motivational quote. It's not the right one to put out right now. So yeah, so obviously going off on one here, but how can we be supportive, and to who? Business community is a fantastic example of of being supportive to all businesses, and within our community we're all being supportive to each other, and long may that continue. Do I need to shift my marketing budget? People have mixed views on this. Marketing budget may be something that people are thinking, well, no, let's cut it, but actually maybe it's the sort of thing that we should be focusing on a little bit more. And that big old question, should I still be marketing? Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, you should. And if you need guidance and support and how to do that, give me a shout. So, a social media strategy. What is your social media strategy? Do you even have one? As I said earlier, we have got goodies on our Facebook page, on our webpage at Green Umbrella, that help you build a social media strategy. What is working and what is not working. If you're on social media, you really should be checking your analytics. This is something I cannot stress enough. It's something you should be looking at on a weekly basis. I know things like LinkedIn, they don't have the best analytics in there. Obviously, if you're using scheduling tools, which some people maybe are, there are sometimes better analytics within those. But if you're literally in LinkedIn on its own, I like the analytics in Twitter. I think they're fantastic, and I like the analytics within Facebook as well. But LinkedIn, we're not amazing, but you should be checking them, because you can see the reach, you can see the impressions they're making, the engagement that they're getting. It's maybe because social media is my career, but it's when you're checking them, you should be the ones that don't do well, you kind of should be looking at, like, is there something in there? Is there an image wrong? Is the wording wrong? What is it that's not right about this? And another slide further down, I'll kind of show you the sort of posts that really do work well. So who's doing their social media right now, and who's doing it wrong? If you're on Facebook, you can scroll down your feed, and sometimes what I do is, if there's something that really kind of stands out to me, I save it in my Facebook, and I save it for later. And it's kind of like, what was good about that? And you see things that are wrong too. So it's kind of like, note what those things are, and why are they wrong? Are they annoying just to you? Or what is wrong with it and what's right with it? Just think about things like that when you're putting your social media together. What makes posts stand out? What works? Okay, so what works? And you've got to think about, what is it that draws you into a post? What is it that draws me in? Bright colours, video, eyes staring at me. And this is a weird one, but actually it's, there are many stats about this that say, that actually if you see eyes, or the eyes of the people that are behind the brand as well, you'll trust them more. That is true. Big smiles, familiar faces, bold text, real life photos, and unique content. You know, real life photos. Again, it's people do really want to see, and honestly, you know, again, you know, I hate being on camera, hate my photo being taken, but sometimes, you know, when you're owning your own business, people do really, really want to see the face behind the brand. So, you know, when people say to me, oh, I don't like to be on camera, I don't want my photo being taken, I can completely relate to that. But this is the posts that work, because people really, really do want to see who you are. And when they see who you are, they will trust you more. Trust me on that. So what doesn't work? No text, dull stock images, busy images, poor quality images, call to actions without obvious or with obvious sales, and anything spammy or hopping on the bandwagon. Yeah, the hopping on the bandwagon. Yeah, that's, you know, there's quite a few people that are. I mean, you could say it about anything, not even just necessarily about lockdown, where people will hop on the bandwagon about something that's trending, or they'll even use a hashtag that's not relevant to their post just to make it go bigger. Don't do that. It's it's not good etiquette at all. You know, if your post does not relate to that hashtag, don't use it. That's what I would say. You know, because people can see through that. So that, yeah. So just think about those things. The things that stand out for me most of all, and the things that work: video, eyes, smiles, and real life photos. These are the things that, well, they personally stand out to me anyway. So just think about those things as well. Social media strategy. Again, video, simple truths. Okay. Anybody who knows me, and some people do here, will know I am not comfortable being on video. I'm here right now, but I'm not. It's not my comfort zone at all. But video, blimmin' works. Okay, it really, you know, I can sit here and go, I don't like it. I don't like it, but it works. And this is not a spammy sell here. I'm just saying this, but even for my own benefit as well. We do actually, in Green Umbrella tonight, we do have a webinar that's out for the public on how to be confident on video. I'm not presenting, Christina is, and she will be sharing some tips that I actually can't wait to hear, because I think Christina comes across really well on video. So video works. Whether you want to do a pre-recorded video or a live video, it does not have to be perfect. I'm saying that to myself as well as you. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Some of the ones that are quite raw and silly are the best ones, but they do get engagement, they do get the best reach. All the algorithms and all the platforms want video. Obviously within business community, we've got Kevin Robinson, who, you know, he sent a post out the other day to say that he's kind of like up and running again in a safe environment. Obviously, if video is what you need, or even tips on video, he's your man. He can guide you. And obviously we can tonight as well. Our Green Umbrella webinar. Right, so things like algorithms explain. Content does matter. It has to be relevant content, but it does matter. And format as well. Consistency matters. You can't just bang on your social media, work on it for a week, step away for a month and go back to it. You have to keep being consistent. Even if you don't have a lot of time to do it. Bear in mind, at Green Umbrella, when we're managing social media platforms, we're working on one platform for one client for 30 minutes. It takes a bit of working to get to that level, but it can be done. Even if you're putting out one post a day, it's consistent. Just think about that. Social media strategy, so conversation techniques. Find a relevant list of discussion points, relevant subjects of interest for your organization. What would you like to see being discussed on your social media profiles? So Something, an example I've got here is that one of my clients that I do social media for, they're recruitment, but they were really inspired by another recruitment agency, not anyone that was in competition with them, but and I kind of had a look at it. And what was funny is that it was a recruitment agency, but quite a lot of what the content that they were putting out there was almost like a lifestyle magazine a little bit, and they'd gone more into that sort of like into lockdown. So a lot of things like how to keep, how your healthy diet, exercise, healthy mind, mental illness, things like they had, were doing yoga and stuff, and they were getting like really good engagement. And my client said to me, I'd really kind of like to steer our Facebook platform into that. And we've kind of done it, and it's been really successful. So although they're in recruitment, we've got like a wealth of information that's going out there to people, and things like, how to, how to present your best self, obviously in a virtual interview, all things that weren't relevant before, and things to think about that people, a whole lot of things, but also in amongst there is kind of like, are you eating healthily just now? Are you stepping away from your office? Working from home, how are you handling that? So a whole different load of things. So think about the type of conversations that you want to see on your profile. I thought that was fantastic. So it's ended up turning into a bit of a recruitment but lifestyle magazine as well. Social media strategy again. So what are people talking about right now? What are people talking about right now? As I said, just now, talking about health and fitness. People are talking about post-lockdown. What will the phased approach be? What will going back to the office look like? Is it an option? Homeschooling, frontline workers, finances and support. These are all things that people are talking about right now. We did like a live lunch earlier on. At Green Umbrella, we do that, and one of the things that sort of Christina was was kind of saying in that was that it's like people right now, they don't want, if we're saying that we're going back to work, people don't want to know about how you're going to make a safe environment. People don't want to know that you're going to be washing your hands, we're going to be 2 meters apart. They want you to add value. They want you to do it, but to give value to it. So you don't have to talk and tell people what you're actually doing. You just need to do it. So yeah, on to the next. Something to think about as well. I think a few people in this, or a couple of people in this group at least, have done this, is radio. Don't dismiss an engagement strategy with your local radio station. If you've got something to say at the moment, gosh, there's so much that people can say right now. Don't dismiss it, and contact people within local radios and see if you can get a slot or something to discuss on there. I think Chris, if I remember rightly, has done something with radio, Northampton Radio. So thinking about who's your target audience. Are you doing your own social media? Is somebody else in the organisation doing it? Does the person who's running your social media have an understanding of your ideal customer? Is this written down with your social media or in your social strategy plan? Make sure that you're working from the same page. If you've got somebody else in your office, if you've got VA or if you've got somebody outsourcing, make sure that you're working from the same page. And obviously if things are changing for you, make sure that you're telling them that and how you want to turn things around. Email marketing, maybe something that you haven't considered. It is funny, we're getting quite a lot of queries for email marketing again. Don't dismiss it. It works really effectively. Again, it's probably a whole other webinar as well to look at email marketing. But do you have a process in place for email marketing? Do you even have a database? What are you doing with that database? Are you communicating with your customers? The one thing that has cropped up a lot is that a lot of people that I've maybe signed up for, I never ever heard from. I've had loads of emails since lockdown from them, explaining to me how they're coping with lockdown and COVID-19. I've never heard from them before. I was like, who's that? Where have they come from? Don't be that. Be somebody who consistently uses your email marketing. And that's it. That's me finished. Does anyone have any questions? I don't know. Can I hear anybody right now?
Yeah, people can unmute themselves.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? It's quite in depth, and I hope I haven't given too much information. But as I said at the very beginning, don't be hard on yourself if you're not ticking all these boxes right now. It's a learning curve for everyone, even us working in social media every day. It's a learning curve. So, questions? Anyone?
Okay, so panel 5, if you just want to wave at the screen as it's a small group and I can see each of you, I'll invite you to ask away, should you wish.
No?
Stunned silence.
Stunned silence.
They're in social media.
Pam.
Sorry?
So has anybody got any comments or questions for Pam? Yes, Gary, go ahead.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. I hope you can. Just thank you. Just want to double check. When you put the timings up, was that GMT time or was that like worldwide?
GMT.
Okay, they're quite specific as well. So would there not be an overload of posts going on at that time if they're the most successful ones?
Well, bear in mind that people don't always read all that information, but yeah, it's saying is that, I mean, I can send the article over to you. So it's one that's been done on Social Media Examiner, and it was done on the 28th of April. So yeah, but the thing is, there's always been best times to post. It's not just like there's best times to post just in lockdown. There's always been best times to post, and people don't always read that or know that information. So probably in answer to your question, there is probably a lot of people posting at that time, but then there's probably not.
I just want to know what people are doing between 7 and 9 o'clock on a Friday, for God's sake. What's wrong with these people? Are you waving at us, Judith? If you want to unmute yourself and ask a question.
I was told, and this may or may not be wrong, that it varies according to you and your industry what the best times are. So for instance, somebody analysed mine and they were 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then late in the evening. Is that not true, or is it true?
I mean, the thing is, within the social media platforms, you can kind of get a bit more of a gauge of what your best times are to post anyway. These are general times, to be fair, and they're not obviously industry specific. So you will see in Facebook itself that there is like a I forget what the chart is called, but there is a chart within there that will show you the times that your actual audience is there. So things can vary, obviously. Yes.
Okay.
But they are that is general ones. It's not saying, you know, that, like, you know, the things as well that, so when I'm thinking like outside lockdown, okay, you know, and there was like, you know, you'll get the times that are the best times to post, but some industries, you know, when you check their analytics at the end of the week, it might be consistent throughout, and others take, you know, dip at certain times of the day. So it'll be this, it's the same, you know, it's the same right now. It's just kind of saying that's a very general, generic, you know, this is when whatever the world, you know, is.
That 11 a.m. slot has come up before. I've seen statistics on email marketing as well, with it where 11 a.m. seems to be a time. It's one that I've consistently chosen over the years if I'm going to do a email campaign, something specific. So I don't know what 11 o'clock just seems to be a sweet spot, as those stats suggested. But I guess in the absence of your own analytics, because you've obviously got to post quite a bit to start getting your own trends, then I
Yes.
guess they're a reasonable, you know, starting point. So, you know, feel free to get up at 7 o'clock and tweet away on Friday.
Yeah. I can't stress it out. They are general, but yeah, Paul's right. The 11 o'clock one has come up a lot, you know, before as well, and it is a time that I tend to try and stick to as well. But you know, even if you think, you know, in general terms about kind of like the activities of people's day, and you know, and if you think of this as a general thing, you know, people will be on social media kind of like breakfast time before they start work, you know, in the mid-morning when people stop for a break, lunchtime when they stop again, maybe in a mid-afternoon break, and then into the evening. Sometimes the best engagement I've had on LinkedIn has been at 9 o'clock at night, because that's kind of like the time when people have gone, you know, down for the day and they're just having a flick through it. So yeah, it's a mix.
Because for me, I chose 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. to do these webinars.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be the times that sort of stuck in my head where I thought they'd probably get the most engagement.